Hi there guys, welcome to issue 57. So before we get into it, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my new subscribers. I had a real good week last week, so picked up quite a few new subs. Thank you very much to everyone that's joined on. And yeah, let's have a look at issue 57. So, we learn about the Raven Guard, Legions of Tzeentch, and painting plasma effects. And to help us to paint those plasma effects, we've got two paints. So we've got Temple Guard Blue, 1000 Sun Blues. So that's a base. Temple Guard Blue is a layer. So let's have a look. In this issue, things heat up in this issue with two new paints that you can use to paint glowing plasma. There are plenty of plasma weapons and terrain features in Warhammer 40k, and your collection has several models that feature them. This issue contains a guide to teach you how to paint them. You'll notice we do not paint any of the Death Guard plasma weapons though, we're saving those to paint with a different colour in the future. Once your plasma glows have been painted, you'll use your terrain models as objectives in an exciting new mission. Okay, so what have we got? We've got chapters number 10, the Raven Guard. We've got Legacy of Secrecy, which is another chapter's article. We've got Space Marine Warriors 13, Stern Guard Veterans. Then we've got Factions 2.1.2, which is Kugath Plaguefather. Then we've got a follow-on from that, which is Tzeentch, and another one, Tzeentch Zone Case. So they're going to show us some painted models. Then we've got Death Guard Domains number 2, the Scourge Stars. Then we've got painting plasma effects, so a little tutorial on that. And then we've got Rules Mission 41, Scorched Earth. So I'm just going to go through every little page just very briefly. So the Raven Guard. The Raven Guard are unusual amongst the Space Marines in that they prefer the art of stealth to the direct tactics of most other chapters. They rarely undertake frontal assaults favoured by their brothers, instead striking from the shadows and taking apart their enemies piece by piece. So that is interesting. Again, more little information about them. Battle against the Orc Boys. That's good. Okay, Space Marine chapters 5.2, Legacy of Secrecy. The hunt for the fallen shows no sign of ending. Even as the Dark Angels win great victories in the name of the Emperor, they continue to hunt their traitorous brothers in the hope that they will be able to track down and eliminate Luther, avenging their fallen Primarch. So this says chapters 5.2, but I think that the way this is set out, so it's Millennium 737 to 39, and then 1441, I think that normally fits in the history section for what we usually get. So I don't know why that says there, unless I'm wrong. Okay, so then we've got the Stern Guard Veterans. The veterans that make up the first company are heroes of the chapter and excel in the most dangerous combat assignments. Stern Guard Veterans are expert warriors who have served their chapter for many years, gaining experience on the battle lines of the chapter. After ascending to the first company, they are tasked with providing fire support to their chapter. They act as the first company's closest equivalent to battle line and fire support troops, targeting enemy armour with heavy weapons and providing a base of fire with their bolters, under which their Terminator and Vanguard veteran brothers can advance. That's interesting. Right, so now we've got Kugath Plaguefather, the great unclean one of incredible bulk. A great unclean one of incredible bulk and terrible power. Kugath Plaguefather stalks the galaxy, searching for new contagions and diseases with which to brew the ultimate plague. And he is pretty grim looking as well. That's all about Kugath's laboratory. Obviously where he's brewing up all of his new contagions and stuff. So that's good. Okay, now we've got Tzeentch. Tzeentch is the Chaos God of magic and change. He is known by many names across the galaxy, amongst them the Weaver of Destinies, the Great Conspirator, the Great Conspirator, and the Architect of Fate. He listens to the hopes and dreams of every sentient being from every planet in order to further his own schemes. Then we've got this, the Pyroclastic Conclave. Is a conflagration legion led by the exalted Lord of Change. Oh, blimey, I'll never read that. Shim Dre Lex Khazar. I'm probably butchering that. In one of his many demon legions sent to the Stygius sector in the aftermath of the Great Rift. And then we've got the Tzeentch showcase, some painted models. Call it a showcase, there's not much there, but they've got pink horrors, blue horrors, brimstone horrors, screamers of Tzeentch, the changeling, flamer of Tzeentch. So that's cool. Okay, Death Guard domains number 2, the Scourge Stars. Located to the galactic north of Ultramar, the Scourge Stars are a series of worlds that have fallen completely under the sway of the Death Guard and Nurgle's demonic legions. On these worlds, the Death Guard gather their forces ready to strike out against the despised Ultramarines. Very nice. And more information on that there. Okay, then we've got a painting guide. So just to give a brief overview, they're talking about basing the plasma coils in Thousand Suns blue and then just highlighting with Temple Guard blue. But I would suggest a tiny bit of white as well. Yep. And they're showing you where on like the the plasma regulators and that kind of stuff, where to do exactly the same thing. But yeah, I would say that as well as a Thousand Suns blue, as well as a Thousand Suns blue base, I would layer it not completely into the crevices with Temple Guard blue, but I would also add a tiny bit of white on the top, perhaps in one line across it. Anyway, so now I've got Rules Mission 41, Scorched Earth. The Death Guard attack continues, driving the Space Marines back yet further. The small area of the city that remains in Space Marine hands must be defended at all costs. So what does that mean? Plasma Harvest. The Death Guard and Space Marines are about to clash once more. This time, the conflict resolves around the plasma storage facilities. Both forces must capture and control as many of the plasma storage devices as they can before the battle ends. The plasma terrain piece is highlighted on the map. There, and there. So they're all objectives. To hold an objective, you must have more models than the enemy within 3 inches at the end of the game. Measure this distance from the closest part of the terrain model. So our armies are the Lord of Contagion, 2 squads of 5 Plague Marines, the Fetid Bloat Drone, 10 Chaos Cultists and 12 Poxwalkers up against the Captain in Gravis armour, 2 squads of 5 Intercessors, the Land Speeder, 3 Hellblasters and 3 Aggressors. Which sounds pretty good. It sounds like it's more... Sounds like the Space Marines have got a bit of an advantage there. But anyway, so that's good. Deployment is in these areas here. Space Marine, Death Guard. Roll off to decide who goes first. Players then alternate going back and forth. After all units have been deployed, the player who finished setting up their army first can choose to take the first or second turn. So, victory conditions. Eliminate the enemy warlord, 1 point. Each objective held at the end of the game, 1 point. Have at least 1 unit in the enemy's deployment zone at the end of the game, 1 point. The game lasts for 5 battle rounds, so that is very cool. And finally, let's have a butcher's of what we've got coming up in the next few weeks. So, we've got the attack bike. So that is just a Space Marine biker who's got a little sidecar on there. And then issue 59, we've had this sprue before, I believe. 2 Intercessors, 2 Hellblasters, and an Inceptor. But good reinforcements. It needs to bulk things up. We can't have this. We can't have new stuff every week because we need these models to build our armies. So it's a pretty good issue, you know. I know a lot of people don't enjoy getting the paint ones, but we've got some nice paints, you know. Yeah, I think it's a good week. But I shall see you next week for the Space Marine attack bike. Thanks very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe. See you later. Bye.